Are you ready to fix unforced errors, your unforced errors? If you are, stick around. Not only are we going to be talking about unforced errors, we will be talking, or I'll be answering. We'll talk pickleball. I'll answer your questions. A bunch of you sent in some questions earlier this week, and I know that some of you will be joining us live as well today, and you're happy to drop those inside of the chat. I'm CJ Johnson from Better Pickleball. You probably know that because you're on either Better Pickleball YouTube channel or our Facebook, or you're on Into Pickle. So happy to have all of you here with us. Drop in the chat where you are calling in from today. Well, not calling, like where you're viewing from today. Let me know. I'm in Lake Tahoe. It is a beautiful day out here. I can tell you this. I am going to go play some pickleball a little bit later today. But let's jump right in and let's start fixing pickleball games. Now, for those of you who need to catch up, earlier this week, last Tuesday, Tony and I did a virtual clinic, and it was amazing. Thanks to all of you who attended the virtual clinic. We talked about unforced errors, specifically some things that you could do in your day to help you to eliminate those, because I think we can all agree nobody likes to make mistakes, and we don't like to make the same mistakes over and over, which seems to happen with our unforced errors. So we had a 3-hour virtual clinic, and we also introduced players to the pickleball system. So our enrollment is closing soon. It's actually closing on Monday. And today is a follow-up to that. I wanted to answer some questions that came in after the virtual clinic, as well as any pickleball questions you have, and answer some questions about the pickleball system as well. So I see Margaret is in Ontario. Hello, Margaret. And Cherie is from Lewes, Delaware, East Coaster. Ooh, Myrtle Beach. Judy, I hope you are doing okay. I don't know if the hurricane got close to you. And Mary is in Northwest Georgia. Yeah, she says we've had horrendous weather from Helene and thus no pickleball. So sorry to hear that. It's just heartbreaking to look at some of the pictures that I see coming out of that area. And Robert is from, oh, I'm going to butcher this one, Alamogordo. Did I say it right? Alamogordo, New Mexico. That sounds good. So drop your questions in the chat. I'm going to start off with a couple of questions that came in via email, but feel free to drop your questions in the chat. One of the first questions, and this came from Tom F., and he said, is there an easy way to keep track or keep count of unforced errors when you are playing? Well, my suggestion, there's a couple of different ways that you could do it. I think probably the easiest thing is like video. Just video a game. And when it comes to video, I know a lot of people think that you have to get a lot of fancy stuff. Now, you certainly can get a fence mount from Amazon. Those are really inexpensive. If you're on our Better Pickleball website, it's betterpickleball.com. Under the resources section, we have a link to some of the mounts that we know that work. And I mean, you can get a fence mount for, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks or something. So you can get one of those, but my point here is you don't have to have anything special. You could just take your phone. I'm skiing in that one. You could just take your phone. I happen to have the little stand here. I just set that against the net, and so it's viewing me and my partner. I don't have to see the whole court, so it's just viewing me and my partner. That helps me to answer some of those unforced errors. You could set it on a table off to the side. You know, sometimes there's tables. So there's a lot of different places that you can put it. You may have a place where you need to get the fence mount to help you, but camera is probably the easiest way. Another thing that you could do would be in golf. There are stroke clickers that you can buy from Amazon, and you could put those in your pocket. So you could just put a stroke clicker into your pocket and count that way. But what I would tell you about unforced errors is this, is when we're looking at unforced errors, just knowing the count isn't enough. You need to know where they came. And if you were at the virtual clinic, we really talked about unforced errors that came specifically in the first 4 shots of the game, because that's where so much play breaks down. In fact, if you were there, we asked you the question, how many gifted points do you think you give during the game? Meaning, when you're on the return side, how many points do you give to your opponents by missing a return a serve or missing a 4th shot? And I'll extrapolate on that 4th shot, like a 4th shot or a 6th shot or a 7th shot, 8th shot, any even shot where you still have the positional advantage as the return team. So you're at the non-volley zone line and your opponents, the serve team, are still off the non-volley zone line. What shot is being missed there? So the count isn't enough. You need to know what those shots are. So that's where video can be really, really helpful. All right, let's see. Wilcott wants to know suggestions on when you have a beginner or not that good of a partner and opponents are targeting a partner. Great question. There is a video on Better Pickleball. We did it about, let's see, we shot it when we were in New York. So we shot this at the end of May. I'm going to guess it is on the Better Pickleball channel back in May or June. And Kylene, if you are around, Kylene from our Better Pickleball team, our Better Pickleball coaching team is here. Hey, Kylene. If you're around, Kylene, and you can find that on the YouTube channel, because actually Kylene is in that video, she will drop it in here. And essentially, the answer is, it depends on the partner and it depends on the situation. But in general, you need to get more involved if that person is being targeted. And there are a couple of different ways you can do it. Again, it kind of depends on the relationship with that person. So I hate to sound like I'm deferring, but we gave several options inside of that video, Wilcott. So I would suggest watching that video and then picking the one that's appropriate for you, because every situation is a little bit different, and in terms of the partner. Certainly, if you want one quick one, I mean, you can poach, but now not every partner that you're playing with is going to appreciate that. So take a look at the video. I think you'll find some helpful things in there. We also got a question that was sent in, wait, this is over. Okay. Oh, Tom. Okay. Thank you. First name, Tom. I see. Wilcott videos. All right. Thanks for setting me straight, Tom. I appreciate that. This came in over on, let's see, on Facebook. How do you slow yourself down in the middle of the rally to force yourself to select proper targets versus reacting? Let me, a lot of that comes from practice, is the work that you do when you're outside of practice. So when we're in a firefight or where things are getting fast on the court, we need to make decisions in a short time frame, and we need to make fast decisions in a short time frame. Think of it this way. I'm going to guess that most of you know how to play solitaire. Okay, even if you don't know how to play solitaire, you have seen a deck of cards before. And if I gave you a deck of cards and I said, put these cards in order, right? One through the, or ace through the king, you would know how to put those cards in order. If I said, pick the suit, put these cards in order, you would know how to do that, because that's something that you practiced. But when you're a kid, that was a skill that you had to learn. So when you play solitaire, if you're a solitaire player, you understand black, red, and the number associated with that. So you can look at the card that comes up and you can decide if you can use that card or not use that card. That decision is based on the fact that you have practiced this skill. You've done it multiple times. Think of another thing. I know a lot of people today play Wordle, and I was kind of late to the game. I started playing Wordle, I don't know, 6 months ago or something like that. It took me a while to get acclimated to playing Wordle. I had to understand the constructs of what was happening. And it's really kind of the same thing in pickleball. Those constructs come from practice. You need to practice those shots. So, like as an example, one of the things that you often hear is target the right hip of or paddle hand. I'm saying right because I'm right-handed. The paddle hand hip of a player. It's a good place to target because it's pretty uncomfortable. It's a hard place to get to. If on a righty, I'm going to have to chicken wing to get to my right hip. Same thing for a lefty. I would have to chicken wing to get over on that other side. So it's an uncomfortable place to target. But if you are not practicing that, you may not pull that out during a game setting. So the quickest way to get better reactions, right, or one of the ways to get better reactions is to practice and to spend some time doing repetition. That's one of the fastest ways is unfortunately you got to get out there and practice. And if you're practicing, especially like a firefight or a hands volley, you don't have to do that with a partner. You could do that against a wall. Just practice against the wall and target certain areas on the wall. Let's see. We did have a question about the pickleball system modules and explain how they were released. So for those of you who don't know, a quick catch up. The pickleball system is our step-by-step online course. There are 160 plus videos, live coaching, the whole bit. You can go to thepickleballsystem.com if you need more information, if this is kind of the first time you're hearing about it. This person wanted to know about how the modules are released. The modules are released over a 90-day period. And the reason that we do that is to help you in your learning process. It can be very easy to think that, oh my God, I've got so much to do and I have to do it all at once. But here's what I can tell you, even if you're not coming into the pickleball system or not, okay? If you are trying to do everything all at one time, you are going to end up with really almost doing nothing. That is not the way to progress. If you're going to progress, you have to pick a skill set that's right for your game, and then you have to work on and practice that skill set, because it really doesn't matter whether it's what we call mechanical, right, which is your technique, or your strategy, what shot to hit when. Those are skills that you're not just going to watch a YouTube video or a video that's in the pickleball system. You're not just going to watch it once and magically go apply it out on the court consistently. You're going to have to put some time into that. And the reason we release those modules in the pickleball system over a 90-day period is to help you to do that, because we have a motto, and it's one TAT, one thing at a time, because that really is the fastest way for you to progress. Jane wants to know, is there any advantage to becoming a ref? Okay, I'm going to give a shout out to all my ref friends. And I'm going to bet you some of you are here. I took a ref clinic years ago. Mark Pfeiffer, who was for a long time, he was the, I'm going to slaughter his title, but he was like all things USA Pickleball rules. He is the referee developmental officer, I think, for the APP. Great guy. I took a training from Mark several years ago. It spawned a friendship that has lasted over a period of time. And if you are a ref and you are giving of being a referee, thank you, because players couldn't have tournaments if there weren't refs. Now, the benefits of being a ref, I'm going to say it from two sides. One is learning to referee gave me an opportunity to understand the game that I play better. I needed to become more proficient at the rules. And it put me in the shoes of a referee who's at a tournament and who has to make quick decisions and fast decisions. So it helped me to look at the game from a very different perspective, Jane. And I have to tell you, it was a very valuable perspective. In fact, I saw Mark when I was back in Chicago, and I shared that one of the things he taught me, like how refs are to look at the non-volley zone, right? Because that's the ref's job, is basically the referee's job is calling, there are other things, but one of the big ones is calling the foot faults at the non-volley zone. And there's a specific way that they teach you to look at it. And I told Mark, I said, it's really interesting. What you taught me, I didn't realize that I use as a coach. I use that in my coaching, right? That same visual perspective, if you will, and it helps me as a coach. So I think that it's certainly worth doing to take a referee clinic. I will tell you, the refs, they are a tight knit group. If you're doing tournament refereeing, it is a tight knit group that travels tournament to tournament to tournament. They love it. They have an amazing time. They have a lot of fun. So I think there's really two sides to it. Yes, as a player, I think it's beneficial. And I'm going to guess the refs are going to tell you, oh, come on out. We have a great old time. All right, make sure if you got a question, go ahead and drop it in the chat. I see that Kylene put the video up for you, Tom. So that's the video on how to help you to be with a partner who is targeting, who is being targeted. I'm sorry about that. All right. Someone asked, can you say more about visualizing where I want to put my return to serve? And I think this is probably a question that is coming from the virtual clinic, because that's one of the things we talked about is gifted points, meaning whenever I miss a point on, really, we're talking specifically here about the return side. And one of those would be that return of serve. And what we feel is the ideal return of serve target is 4 feet from the baseline and in about the center of the court. Now, the easiest way to visualize that, again, to me, is to practice. Take out a target. If you have to buy a couple of targets on Amazon, like just a couple round discs, they're pretty inexpensive and they're very colorful. And our eyes tend to be attracted to color. Put that target down on the target line. And this goes for not just return to serve. This is any shot that you happen to be practicing. If you're going out and you're practicing different things, colorful targets can help you to recall that target when you get into a game situation, so that you're seeing it and your mind is saying, oh, that's where you want me to go. And it begins to program your body, because here's the thing. The mind-body connection is so underutilized in pickleball. Most pickleball players don't think anything about it. And as a lifelong athlete, I mean, this is, I've been a golf professional my whole life. I've skied since before I can remember. I still teach skiing, as well as a full-time pickleball coach. I can tell you this, the mind-body connection can help you in so many ways. Visualization and targeting is just one of those things, because if you tell the mind, like through the use of targets, what it is that where you're trying to go, you're going to create motions, physical motions that are more targeted, if you will, not intended as a pun, more targeted to what you are trying to do. So colors really help. If you don't have a target like that, put your water bottle down on the court. Take a towel out of your bag. Throw a towel down on the court while you're practicing. But I find that bright colors are really extremely beneficial. So we talked about, I know there was a question coming up about bad margins, and this was something that came up in the class. So I want to share a quick slide with y'all, and I want to talk just a little bit about the bad margins. So let me go ahead and do this. All right. Okay. So one of the things that we see is there's this current thinking about, I got to skim the net. I have to skim the net. I have to skim the net. And we're trying to skim the net, or players are trying to skim the net on every single shot. And what starts to happen when we skim the net on those shots is we now bring the net into play. And that in turn causes those gifted points that we were talking about. So if you look here, we've taken 3 different shots, right? Dinks, the serve or the return of serve, as well as the volley. And what you'll notice, we've got the yellow ball in the center, and then we've drawn a margin outside of it. Because here's the thing, we're not robots. We are not going to, I can aim for a certain target. I am not going to hit that target each and every time, and neither are you. So we have a margin for error around it. So if I'm thinking that I'm trying to skim the net, or really the prevalent shot that's going on in people's mind is I'm trying to hit the ball low. Anybody think about, oh, I got to hit it low. I got to hit it low. I got to hit it low. If you are trying to hit it low, you are trying to skim the net. And if that is your target, the reddish color here is in that margin for error. And if you look at that margin for error, right, it is below the net. And when you miss a shot into the net, point over, game done, right? So let me ask you a quick question. Would you rather miss a shot into the net or hit a shot a little higher that's potentially attackable and be attacked with that shot? So do you want the attack? Put an A if you want to be attacked, or an N if you want to hit it in the net. Which one you want? Come on. Throw it in the chat. You're watching the chat. Just put it in there. Do you want to be attacked or do you want to hit it into the net? You can do this. All right. Of course, we want to be attacked. If I'm attacked, at least I have a chance to fend it off. If I hit the ball into the net, particularly on the return side, is a point for you. Is over. Is done. I can't do anything else. Yeah, everybody put the A. You got it. It's attacked. We want to be attacked. So one of the things is to stop trying to hit it so close to the net, right? Stop trying to, it's sexy. I know it's sexy when that shot goes over the net and it's nice and low and it kind of is humming past, but you are not leaving yourself enough margin for error on that shot. All right. Let's see. Judy. Hello, Judy. How are you? I think Judy was at the clinic, right? Judy, if you were at the clinic, give me a thumbs up. She said, in my group, everybody bangs. Should I just learn to have quicker hands or figure out how to insert a dink or a drop? I think there's a couple of things that you can do inside of your group. So the biggest weapon against a banger is a block volley. That's the number one weapon to have against a block volley, because it's the block volley that helps you to control the pace. Okay. So when somebody hits the ball, if I'm on the return team, because we've been talking a lot about that. If I'm on the return team and somebody on the serve team hits a drive from the baseline at me, my response in terms of shot is a block volley. Okay. That's my first, if you want to say attempt, or that's my first tool at controlling pace. The next thing to control pace with most bangers is if you hit a successful block volley, chances are very good that that block volley is now going to land somewhere inside of the court. I mean, this is not, you're not trying to push this. This is not a punch volley where I am trying to take this ball and push it back at the person who hit it to me. It's got pace on it. All I simply want to do is diffuse that pace, and I do a block volley. So a successful block volley is going to bring that banger into the court. Once you bring that banger into the court, as you pointed out, is everybody bangs. My guess is when they come into the inside of the court, they don't stop banging, do they? I don't know about y'all, but do the players that I see bang at the courts, they just keep banging. They have one gear. It's like a one-trick pony, right? They just keep banging, just keep banging. If they come into the court, your next move, get out of the way. Let the out ball go. Because chances are, once they are inside of the court has now gotten small. And, they're inside. I mean, the court's only, 44 feet long to begin with. And so you bring them in 5 feet, 6 feet, whatever it may be. The court has now gotten smaller. It is harder to keep the ball in. And if they're going to bang again, there's a good chance it's out. Let the ball go. Now, here's the thing. Try it. There may be some bangers that you play against that have enough topspin to be able to keep that ball in play from different places inside of the court. That's a given. But you know what? You don't know. You do not know unless you let the ball go whether or not it's in or out. And I will tell you, based on what I see at the courts, the number one problem that most players playing against bangers have is they refuse to let out balls go. If you keep hitting every ball that a banger sends your way, Tony likes to say, you are the banger's huckleberry. You know, that movie Tombstone, I love Val Kilmer in that one. He used the front, hey, huckleberry, you are the banger's huckleberry. Let the ball go. And again, if you start letting balls go and then you see that the ball is in, then what you're going to need to do is you are going to need to adjust your strategy, but let the ball go. We had a couple quick pickleball system question comments. I'm going to throw these in there. From Mark, when does this year's class start? Register, it starts on Monday. Or well, you will get your first information once you register, but the class closes on Monday, and our first live call, our first live coaching call is October 3rd. So that is coming up on Thursday. He also wants to know, is there a time limit to accessing the content? The pickleball system is a class. It is not a set of DVDs that you just sit up on a shelf and watch like you use YouTube videos, right? For this to really change your game, and the pickleball system does, as so many of you have experienced, you need to use it. So it is a year-long class, and we walk you through how to use this information to get some real changes inside of your game. And I know that I'm going to guess there's a few pickleball system members on here who have seen some changes inside of their game. Feel free to drop it in the chat if you are one of those folks. So let's see. Third shot, let's see. Third shot drop. Partner has a bad habit of running blindly to the non-volley zone. Told him to wait to see if it's a good drop and then to move up together. Should I just drive the ball instead? Tried explaining it, but I'm trying to teach an old dog new tricks. Well, even old dogs learn new tricks. You see that a lot on the serve side. So now we're talking about the serve side, right? So let's make a differentiation between the serve side and the return side, because they are different. On the return side, you definitely want to hit and run. Hit, get up to the non-volley zone line as fast as you can, period. On the serve side, you need to measure your response, because if the returners have done their job and they are at the non-volley zone line, they can hit a ball towards your feet. And I think we could probably all agree that a ball hit at our feet is probably one of the toughest ones to return. Conversely, if I am on the serve side, I cannot hit a ball at the feet of I can't drive a ball at the feet of the return team, because the net is in the way. That's why we have the third shot drop. That's why it's a thing. Okay. So on the serve side, when you are on the serve side, as a new player, back when I was a new player, players said, run to the non-volley zone after the shot is hit. They did not differentiate between the return side and the serve side. And on the return side, it's exactly what you want to do. And on the serve side, it's exactly what you don't want to do. Okay? It's exactly what you don't want to do. So one of the things that you could do, it sounds like, Tom, that you might be working or playing with this person a fair amount of time, is while you're doing it, if the third shot is coming to you and you are the person hitting the third shot, tell him, you can tell him out loud, just say, stay back, stay with me, don't move forward, stay with me, don't move forward. Or before the shot is ever hit, is say, let's move up together. Don't ever get in front of me. See if you can stay with me no matter what. Now, I'm not telling you to do that as a strategical move. I'm just telling you, you asked a question specific to helping a person not run forward when you're playing together. By giving them one of those two cues, that should help them. Again, that's not a strategy move, but if somebody's really struggling, I will tell them, never get in front of me. If I'm hitting the third shot, never get in front of me. If you're hitting the third shot, I am never going to get in front of you, right? We are going to move up together, right? Let's see if we can do this together. Again, not strategy, just a way to accomplish what you were talking about. All right. Let him hit the third shots. Again, you can drop your questions in the chat. So if you've got some pickleball questions from, we had the Unforced Errors Clinic a little earlier this week. We had that on Tuesday. And so we had that clinic then. If you've got some questions from that, I know some of you are on here. If you've got some pickleball system questions, feel free to drop those in the chat. The pickleball system, it's the last class of 2024. It is, you enroll by Monday. Otherwise, it will be next year before you get into a pickleball system class. So another question we had over on Facebook, let's see, is it worth having a hard serve to keep your opponents a little tense? Yeah, that's an interesting question. Let's go back to, I'm going to go back to this slide. Let's see. Let me see if I can bring this one up. There we go. I'm going to bring that slide up again. All right. So let's look at this one in the center here, if we could, right? Is it worth having a hard serve to keep your opponents up? Generally, a hard serve comes with a lower trajectory, right? A lower trajectory over the net. So if that is the place where you are intending to hit it, you can see that with your margin of error that we talked about earlier, right? The circle that is around the ball is your margin of error, because we're not going to hit it in the same exact place each and every time. That if you have a hard serve, you are bringing the net further into play. So to answer your question, maybe. I mean, how consistent are you with it? I mean, if you're really consistent and you hit that net, I don't know, 1 out of every 10, 20 serves, okay. And I would say this on the serve side, if you hit the ball in the net on the serve side, it's less penalizing than it is if you hit it on the return side. Because what happens when you have the wrong margin of error and you hit a ball in the net on the return side? What happens to the return team? Please, somebody put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Tell me what happens when you are on the return team. You are on the return team. You miss the margin for error and you put the ball in the net. What do you do? And if you were at the clinic, if you were at the virtual clinic on Tuesday, you know the answer. Let's see if we got it coming up. It's a gifted point. You give your opponents, if you do this on the return side, you give your opponents a gifted point. Yeah, there we go. Susan, Cherie, Chris, you're giving up a point. So there's more consequence on the return side than there is on the serve side. So could it potentially be worth taking a little bit more of a risk on the serve side? Yeah, certainly it could be. Now, you also have to weigh those risks. Like as an example, let's just say you and your partner are down in a game and you are coming back, right? Let's just say you're 6-1 and you are coming back now and the score is now maybe like 5-6. That's not the time to dump a third shot, to take a lot of risk, dump a third shot or a serve into the net, because what you do is you effectively kill your momentum. So when you're looking at those things, as long as you understand margin of errors, and see, that's the thing that we teach you, and that's what we teach inside of the pickleball system. We teach framework, right? I'll tell you about FOSS in just a second. We teach framework. When we teach you framework, now you're able to say, what's the pros and cons, right? Think of like the scale. What's the pros and cons? Is this the right time to do it? Should I take this risk? Is it the right place, right shot to take this kind of risk? Because most of the issue with us trying to learn pickleball, I'm going to guess that many of you remember Rolodexes, right? I'm from the era of Rolodexes, a big Rolodex. We talk a lot about like players want to have this Rolodex of shots. Well, when Tom's in this position here and Sue's in this position here and I'm in this position here and this one's here, what shot do I hit then? I don't know. There are so many variables that go along with it. But if you have a framework and you understand, you can begin to make some decisions. And inside the pickleball system, that's one of the things we teach. We call it FOSS. So FOSS stands for framework, objectives, strategies, and shots. So think of it this way: framework's up here, then objectives, then your strategies, then your shots. So if you understand the framework of pickleball and you understand the objectives, you can process this just like I did to pick out the right strategies and shots. Unfortunately, most players start at the bottom of that and they're like shots and strategies, and they never fully understand the framework and the objectives on each side. And without that understanding, you're going to have a hard time performing. So that's one of the things we teach in the system. I mentioned this before, just is if you are looking to join us for the last system class of 2025, Monday is your last day, and you can get more information. It's right on the screen at thepickleballsystem.com. Somebody had a system question. This is Mary, I think, and it says, if I register for TPS and can't join live, will there be an opportunity to ask questions for all y'all later? This is not just a set of videos. We have a thriving community, so you can ask questions inside of the community. And not only do you get Tony, me, and your Better Pickleball coaching team, you get a bunch of other players who have been right where you have been to share some insights from their journey as well. We do a members-only podcast, so we answer your questions in a members-only podcast, and we have live coaching calls. Somebody asked, again, I touch on this just a little bit. Any tips on taking video of my games? Again, the biggest thing is it doesn't have to be complex, but I highly recommend that you put yourself on video, because I'll tell you this, what you think you're doing and what you're often doing are two different things. I talked about this a little bit in the virtual training on Tuesday. You know, I'm a 3-sport athlete and coach. And when it comes to your game, when it comes to your pickleball game, I can look at you play and I can make decisions and share with you what is your greatest point of opportunity. What is that functional thing that you need to change in your game that's going to impact the rest of your game? It's a skill that's taken me years to develop through a variety of coaching and coaching different sports. I've always had a great eye. I can see things, but learning to prioritize what a player needs to work on, that one thing at a time, is a skill that, I'm just going to be frank with you, most coaches don't have it, because it takes time to develop. Now, I can do that for your game. I can see that in your game. But when it comes to my game, it sucks. I have bias. I have things that I think I'm doing. I have bias inside of my game, and you're going to have bias inside of your game as well. That's why video doesn't lie. Video is going to tell you exactly what to do. Make it simple. Focus on whatever one thing you're trying to focus on. As an example, if you're just trying to focus on your footwork, just focus on that part of the video. If you're like, I'm just watching what my footwork is doing, don't get distracted by what you're doing with your stroke mechanics. That's not the time. Put yourself on video, watch the footwork, and then work on one thing at a time. What thoughts should we have while playing? And by the way, you got questions? Go ahead and drop them in the chat. What thoughts should we have while playing? Whew, that's a big topic. Now, here's what I can tell you is most players think about too much, too many things. And part of that is because most players don't have the tools to be able to focus their mind and to be able to take away anxiety. What I would say is this, is whatever thought you choose, it should be one thought at a time, and really make that one thought at a time. I would say not like one thought in a rally or one thought in a game. Make that one thought for your whole entire day. Make it one thought. So as an example, if you were like, I'm just going to work on my footwork today, I'm just going to work on staying in the system, we call it staying up on our triangles. Okay. So most players get really flat footed, and everybody wants to talk about reaction time, and we all want to talk about how fast we can move the paddle. Okay. All right. Most of that starts with our feet. We're dead asleep, our feet are flat on the court, and when a fastball comes our way, we need to all of a sudden, boom, react. But in order to do that, in order to react, we need to first get to a balanced position. And I'm going to tell you this, you don't believe me? The next time you go to open play, spend 2 minutes looking around the court and watching people's feet while the game is going on. They are generally flat-footed. So if you're focusing, just focus on one thing at a time for that whole entire day, right? Just focus on staying up on my triangles. I am going to stay ready to play. I'm going to stay ready to move. Let that one thing be your focus for the day. So whatever thought it is, one thought, keep it very simple. Keep it very, very simple. Don't tell yourself how to do things, because I will tell you this, I've been fortunate enough to be around some of the best mental sports psychologists in the industry. When I was a young golf professional, they were teaching us like how to do it and how to think on the golf course and what to do. And I would tell you this, I think golf is probably tougher than pickleball is, because pickleball is at least somewhat reactionary. Golf, your mind has a lot of time to get involved. So you really need to gain some skills to be able to keep your mind controlled and focused. But I would say focusing on one thing at a time, whatever that thing happens to be, is best for you. I'd also make a suggestion. If you are having trouble focusing on one thing at a time, I highly recommend our Pickleball Therapy podcast. Every Friday, Tony puts out a fantastic podcast helping to your pickleball improvement. And Kylene, if you don't mind dropping can you drop a link in the YouTube URL for the Pickleball Therapy podcast? It is on Spotify, Apple, all the major platforms, but it's also on YouTube, and it's a free podcast. Listen to the podcast. Tony talks all about the mental side of the game and how to help you with the mind-body connection. Let's see. Is TPS advised for a fairly new player? Yeah, I mean, TPS is designed for players all the way from really advanced beginners. My suggestion is that you're playing, 3 or 4 months. I mean, if you've been playing regularly for 3 or 4 months, you've got enough under your belt. If you're still learning how to keep score and you're like really new in your pickleball journey, we do have inside of our Pickleball Academy, we have a small class for new players. I would suggest that over TPS. If you're like, I'm still trying to keep score and figure out the rules and that sort of thing, then I would say no, don't come into TPS. But if you understand the lay of the land of pickleball all the way to 4.0 plus, the pickleball system has something for you. And we have customized action plans. You come in, you take an assessment, you get an action plan. These action plans help you to locate the content in the system that will help you. And then you take that out and you work on your game. And we have a drills library. I mean, we got 35 drills alone in the drills library, and everything from drilling with a partner to drilling in front of a mirror, practicing against a wall, playing by yourself. We have all sorts of resources in there to help you to learn. One of the things too is the pickleball system is not just through your browser. We have a pickleball system app. So you can take all that content with you. You can easily take it to the courts and access that content wherever you happen to be. So there are multiple different things in the pickleball system. If you're interested in it, I would suggest the pickleballsystem.com. That's the place to go and to get the information on everything there that is included. What if someone has a crazy spin serve? Crazy serve with serious spin that's difficult to determine after the bounce? Great question. So a couple of things that I would recommend is most players spin the ball one direction or the other. Not every player can, they either maybe have top spin or back spin. or they at least prefer it. Even if they can spin it in both directions, there's one direction they prefer. So if you see a player who has a crazy serious spin serve, my first thing I would tell you is not while you're playing with them. Take some time, sit off to the side, watch them play. What does the ball do when it lands? Right? What does the ball do when it lands? So that's the very first thing to focus on, is what does the ball do when it lands? Then the second thing to focus on would be, when you see a pattern, is to go back and look and say, look at what the player is doing, because the way the player creates spin is through the motion that they're making. So it's trying to tie the motion that they're making to what's going to happen to the ball on the court. And those are learned skills. So those are things that you have to be very patient with. Those are best learned if you're just watching from the side. If you're playing with that player, against that player, and you're not really sure, do this. Position yourself, intersect the ball to the middle, right? So if the ball's coming at me, position myself right in the center of the ball so that I can either react to my left or to my right. So until you learn to read the spin better, position yourself in the center of the ball so you can go in either direction. Let's see. We had a couple of questions on lobs. I'm getting to the net too quickly when opponents lob over my head. Shirley asked that one. And then I had another one from, sorry, I don't know how to say your name. I'm going to call you A because I don't want to butcher it. Is there a shot that will make it more difficult for someone who loves to lob? So let's talk a little bit about lobs, because I know that's a pain point for many of you. Part of that has to do with recognition. All right. Part of that is recognition and being able to recognize these shots. Your favorite lobber has a favorite lob shot. They may lob from the baseline. They may lob from the middle of the court. They may lob more off their forehand. They may lob more off their backhand. Forehand is generally the more, I guess, the more common one. Players tend to lob less off their backhand. So the very first thing is, what is your favorite lobber's favorite shot to lob from? That's the first thing. And the simple answer is, don't give them that shot. I mean, so if I know that Mary likes to lob from deep in the court off her forehand, don't hit it there. The other thing is this, is when we're playing against lobbers, chances are both players on the team are not equal lobbers. If you're playing against Mary and Tom, they may both lob, but my guess is one is better than the other. Very rarely are you going to see Mary and Tom, who are both absolutely equal lobbers, and they can lob from all areas of the court. So is there a shot that'll make it more difficult for someone who loves to lob? Yeah, but I don't know what that shot is until I see what that person is doing. For most players, it's the baseline. And here's where I would tell you some conflicting results, or something that's going to conflict with what I shared with you earlier. I told you that the best place for the return of serve is 4 feet from the baseline in the center of the court. That is the best place for your return of serve for a variety of reasons. Hopefully you were at the virtual clinic and you got all those reasons. I'm not going to go back into them today. If not, if you don't understand what I just told you, you need to be inside of TPS. Come into TPS and we will teach you that, because that is a strategy that I'm going to tell you will change your game in a very short amount of time. So come into TPS if you don't understand what I just said. That being said, if you are playing a lobber, that may not be the best shot. If they like to lob from that baseline lob, 4 feet from the baseline in the center of the court, and they're lobbing on their forehand, and you got a righty over there, and she's strong, Mary, I just said, is a forehand lobber, that's probably not where you want to put that shot. You probably want to put that shot in a place where she can't hit that lob, which might be shorter. It might be more towards her body. It might be more towards her opponent's body. And again, there are consequences when you move that shot. Like if you decide I'm going to go all the way over to her partner, you start creating angles. Angles create angles, and that opens up a whole nother can of worms. Okay, so you need to understand what's the framework? So I'm going to go back to what I started, like I talked about a little bit ago, is these are great questions. These are fantastic questions, but it's impossible to give you a definitive answer. The better thing is to teach you framework, is to teach you the framework, to teach you the objectives. Once you understand framework and objectives, then you get the strategies, then you get the shots. And to really understand pickleball and play your best pickleball, if you are missing the framework and the objectives, you're gonna struggle getting the strategies and shots. And that's what we teach you inside of the pickleball system. We teach you that so that you can understand what's best and you can answer these questions for yourself. Let's see. We had someone, I'm just going through here. Yes, TPS is open until Monday. It's our last class of 2025. Again, this is not a set of DVDs that sit up on a shelf. There's live coaching. There's a variety of resources. Oh my God, we got 160 plus videos and action plans all laid out for you. Go to thepickleballsystem.com. You will find out what it's all about if you haven't done so already. But yes, Monday is our last class of 2025. Someone asked, I'm sorry, I'm not getting a name with this one, is how can I get better? Any suggested drills? So I'm going to tell you, and here's the thing. I know it may sound like I'm plugging the pickleball system, and I am. And the reason I am is this, is if you're here, you're spending time with me on a Saturday afternoon, asking questions about pickleball, it is obvious to me that you want to improve. If you really want to improve, this is a step-by-step method to improve. There is nothing like it. We back it up with a 90-day money-back guarantee. You come into the pickleball system, for whatever reason, if it doesn't work for you, we'll give you your money back. And here's what I'm going to tell you. There's a 98% success rate, and we have 5-star ratings. So if you've learned something, even if you've learned something today, you are capable of learning on video. Players think, I have to be on the court with you. That's just not the case. We teach you how to take this information and to apply it to your game. We coach you on how to do that. So that's the pickleball system. But when it comes to drills, is drills don't have to be complex and complicated. Now, in the system, we've got 35 different drills, because I know that a lot of players, because we hear this all the time, is I don't have a partner to drill with. You don't need a partner to drill with. You can drill in front of a mirror. I live in Lake Tahoe. I am in the mountains half the year. All I do is ski for the most part. I play a little bit of pickleball, but I have a mirror over to my right inside of my office, and I spend time all winter long mirror drills. I spend time doing wall drills at home with a foam ball. You can take, if you have access to courts where you can drill by yourself, take a Home Depot bucket or some kind of bucket like that you have around your house, throw 10 balls in it, go out to the courts. You can easily practice most every shot. The one that's hard to practice on the court would be the block volley. You can practice that against a wall. But you can practice most every shot with the bucket of balls and 10 balls. A wall, and all, if you've been on my YouTube channel, you know my drilling partner, Jeannie. I love Jeannie. Jeannie and I have been drilling partners for years, and I love Jeannie. But my favorite partner is the wall, because it's there it is available anytime. Jeannie is very available, but the wall is available anytime I want to go and hit against the wall. And I have a nice wall over at the tennis center to hit against, but you do not have to have a wall at a tennis center to hit against. You can hit against in your garage. You can hit against your house. You can practice pickleball anywhere. So in terms of drills, take a bucket and a set of balls, go out to the courts with you. And if you're really interested in getting more drills, like I said, we have 35 drills alone inside of the drill library. If you've got some questions, go ahead and drop it in the chat. I think I'm just trying to look back here to make sure that I don't have all the questions that I've answered all the questions that have been given to us. Here's one that I think I missed. How do you slow your mind down in the middle of the game? I'm getting anxiety and it's tough for me to think. Common, really like super, super common. I taught this technique at the virtual clinic. I probably have taught this technique at like every virtual clinic that we have ever had. And the reason that I teach this technique is because it's extremely effective. So I'm going to teach you all this technique that you can use to calm and slow things down when you're out on the pickleball court. So wherever you are, I just want you to sit up tall, right? So sit up tall. Relax for just a second. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a big breath in through our nose, and then we're going to push it out twice through our mouth. So big breath in, push, push. Come on, I'm watching. This is a two-way camera. Big breath in, push, push. Do you feel your shoulders relax? Did you feel yourself just chill out? Your mind started to clear? Practice this the next time you are out on the courts. Do it in between your rallies. Here's the thing. If you don't practice it, you're not going to get this when you're in the heat of things. You, just like everything else, you're not going to come up with these great shots or this wonderful breath technique that will calm your body if you haven't practiced it. You need to go ahead and practice it. Okay? So practice it the next time you're out on the court. Every time the rally stops, in, push, push. Do that for your whole entire day. And you will start to see your body relax. Relax, relax, relax. All right, let's see. Had another question, margin for errors. This was from the clinic we talked about, and this should be, I'm going to pull this up here, right here. Yes, there are different margins for errors for different shots. And again, this is one of the tools. This is a playtime guide, and you can kind of think of like playtime guides as cheat sheets. So the system isn't just about videos. We also have cheat sheets for you. Like I said, we have some things that we send you. We have laminated charts that we send you. In addition to being able to take the app to the court, I will tell you this, as a person who's created online education since 2011, I know what works. And, you know, Tony and I, this is not our first rodeo. We've gone through this multiple times, and we give you the information in a format that is usable for you. But here is, this is an example of one of our playtime guides in the system. And since we were talking about margins for error, you can see here are the different margins for error in your shots, which would give you the correct errors. These are the correct margins over the net. Too often, our margins are too low. And what you really want to look at here is look at where the yellow part is, look at where the ball is, right? Because the margin for error that circles around it is where we're going to hit it, right? We're not going to be perfect every time. Sometimes we're going to hit it a little high, and sometimes we're going to hit that ball just a little on the low side. But margins for error is like, that's one of the playtime guides. And the question was, in return with margins for error, and I'm going to, hopefully you can see my cursor here. Look at the serve and the return. It's kind of like right in the middle. It's the fourth one from either side. The serve and the return. We recommend a target of 3 feet over the net for your serve and return. Now, there's a variety of reasons why we recommend that shot. I'm going to tell you, on the return of serve, if you hit that ball lower, if you are trying to consciously hit the ball low, especially like on shots like the return of serve, unless you're flash, you have not given yourself enough time to get up to the non-volley zone line. You also have, for most players, cannot hit the ball low and deep. Most players, not every player, but most players cannot consistently hit the ball low and consistently hit the ball deep. So if on your return of serve, you are hitting the ball low, you are not giving yourself enough time to get to the non-volley zone line. I know that, and especially if you're over 50, I know that for sure. If you're 20 or 30, maybe, but if you're over 50, you're not giving yourself time. And then secondly, chances are good that you are not able to get that ball deep enough so you are giving your opponents a third shot from inside the court. Now, let me ask you this question. Would you rather hit a third shot from inside the court or from behind the baseline? The chat's been a little quiet, so I want you to put this in the chat. I, if you want to hit it inside the court, or B, if you want to hit it from the baseline. Go ahead. I from the inside of the court, or B from the baseline. Where would you rather hit your third shot from? Inside the court, which is the I, or B from behind the baseline? I know where I'd rather hit my third shot from. There we go. Thank you, Susan. John likes to hit his third shot from the baseline. I got to tell you, I can hit a third shot from the baseline. I'd much rather hit my shot from inside. My third shot, I'd much rather hit it inside of the court. If I'm trying to hit a third shot, that is, for me, an easier third shot. I can hit a much better third shot drop from inside the court than I can from the baseline. From the baseline, I'm starting to look at driving, right? And you may have a preference as to being on the baseline, right? Most players, I would venture to say, probably 80% of players rather hit a third shot from inside of the court. So if you are hitting your return of serve short and you're hitting it inside the court, you are giving the other team what they want. You're bringing them in, you're allowing him to hit a shot from inside of the court. So why? Move up the target a little bit, like we said, about 3 feet high, and then you can go from there. But those are the things that we teach you inside of the pickleball system, right? We teach you how to make those decisions. So it's not just a caveat, hit it through, here's our recommended target. But once you understand what the recommended target is and why that's the recommended target, then you, as an intelligent and capable pickleball player, can make decisions for your own game and say, here's what I'm going to do, knowing what I know about this, knowing what I know about depth, knowing what I know about margin of errors. Here are my choices. And now your choices make sense. And that's what's going to help you to improve as a player. We are, and again, last class of 2025 is starting on Monday. This is your last chance to enroll in the pickleball system. You can get more information on it from thepickleballsystem.com. Highly recommend that you join us. If you're, like I said, if you are really bent on an improvement, I can guarantee you this is better than any other online instruction by far. We've done this for years. We've been at this since 2020, and I've been doing online courses since 2011. And we know how to give you the information that you need to get to your goals the fastest. I also know it's unequivocally better than what you're going to experience on a court. I do think there are some compatibility things with being on a court and getting some on-court instruction. I think they can marry with each other. But if you're just taking on-court instruction, I think you're shortchanging yourself, because it's not necessarily filling in the whole picture. So I think that the pickleball system marries very well with on-court instruction. So I can't believe this. I have been on for about an hour. I know that there are a lot of you that are still here with us, but I told you at the start of this that I'm getting ready to go play some pickleball. Pickleball system starts. We are going to start a class this week, last class of 2025. It's the pickleballsystem.com. Go check it out. Hope to see you back here on YouTube, Facebook, anything else. Thanks for spending time with me on a Sunday afternoon. All right. You all have a great day.